Texas is home to some of the most haunted hospitals you could ever imagine. Buildings where the walls remember every scream, every cry, every life lost long before their time. These are places where the past refuses to stay buried, corridors where phantom footsteps echo in the dead of night, shadowy figures linger in empty wards, and cold spots appear without warning. Many have reported feeling watched. Even when the halls are completely empty, whispers drift through abandoned rooms, voices of patients who never truly left. The air grows heavy, thick with fear. Every creak of a door, every flicker of a light seems to hint at something unseen. These hospitals have histories steeped in tragedy, from forgotten psychiatric wards to small-town infirmaries, patients who suffered alone, procedures done without consent, deaths that went unnoticed, and now the spirits of the restless remain. Some roam the hallways looking for comfort that will never come. Others appear as dark silhouettes, only visible in the corner of your eye. Nurses who died in accidents continue to make rounds. Doctors who passed in the night whisper warnings to those still alive. The sense of being followed is a common experience, and many visitors swear they've seen the outlines of figures moving through walls, vanishing when approached, doors open on their own, objects shift without cause. Every inch of these hospitals holds a story that refuses to die. If you dare, you will hear tales of rooms that no one can enter without feeling a chill that bites through your skin, wards where the cries of children echo endlessly, operating theaters where phantom procedures seem to repeat themselves over and over, hallways where shadowy patients linger silently, and staircases where the dead seem to descend while no one is around. Texas haunted hospitals are not just abandoned buildings or historical curiosities, they are active centers of paranormal activity where the living and the dead coexist in uneasy proximity. Tonight, we take you inside 15 of the most haunted hospitals in Texas, from sprawling psychiatric complexes to small rural infirmaries, each with its own chilling stories, each with spirits that refuse to rest, and each one that will test your courage. If you think you're brave enough to step into their halls, keep reading, because these stories will haunt you long after the lights go out. Haunted Hospital Number 1. Old Alamo Hospital, San Antonio. Old Alamo Hospital looms in San Antonio like a relic frozen in time, its brick walls weathered, yet stubbornly holding on to decades of sorrow and despair. Every hallway and corridor seems to hum with the residual energy of countless patients who suffered and sometimes died within its walls. Visitors report an overwhelming sense of heaviness the moment they step inside, a chill that sinks deep into the bones, no matter the season, and a feeling that unseen eyes are watching their every move. Phantom footsteps are the most common phenomenon, echoing through the empty corridors when no one is there, sometimes slow and deliberate, as if someone is pacing in thought, other times sudden and quick, as if a patient or nurse ran across the floor in panic. Doors creak and slam shut on their own, and drawers open without human touch. The occasional faint sound of medical instruments clattering can be heard, though no one is present to operate them, creating a disorienting sense of being surrounded by life and death at once. The hospital's rooms are particularly chilling, many filled with invisible presences. Cold spots appear without warning. A room might be warm one moment, freezing the next. The beds sometimes appear to be occupied, shadows of patients lying down only to vanish when approached. The old nurse uniforms seem to materialize in fleeting glimpses along hallways, pale figures moving silently and vanishing when looked at directly. Some claim to hear whispers, murmured names, or faint cries for help, drifting through the air, carrying the unmistakable weight of sorrow and fear. Even the staircases and hallways tell a story, creaking under invisible footsteps, as if the spirits of doctors and nurses still perform their rounds. The waiting rooms resonate with a strange, almost musical hum, remnants of voices that once filled the space with hope and despair. Visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures of patients moving slowly through the walls, their eyes hollow yet watching. The atmosphere becomes thick and suffocating at times, as if the building itself resists the intrusion of the living. At night, Old Alamo Hospital becomes even more sinister. The darkness amplifies every sound. A distant door slam can startle the most fearless explorer. Faint cries of agony echo through the wings, and fleeting glimpses of figures in hospital gowns appear in the corners of vision. The lights flicker sporadically, sometimes revealing fleeting apparitions. The stairwells occasionally emit a low, mournful groan as if protesting the presence of intruders, and some claim that the temperature drops dramatically when approaching certain rooms, as if the building is warning them away. Many paranormal investigators have attempted to document the activity within Old Alamo Hospital, setting up cameras, motion detectors, and audio recording equipment. The results are often disturbing. Unexplained shadows, orbs of light, and sounds of movement are captured. Some even report electronic devices malfunctioning inexplicably, cameras turning off, or recorders playing back distorted whispers. Yet nothing is ever fully explained. The hospital keeps its secrets, preserving the restless energy of those who never left. Those who dare to explore Old Alamo Hospital often leave with a lasting sense of unease. Some speak of feeling a presence following them, a shadow just behind that vanishes when looked at directly. Others feel invisible hands brushing against them, a cold breath on the back of the neck, or the sensation of being guided or chased through the labyrinthine corridors. Many report dreams afterward, nightmares filled with images of patients, nurses, and doctors frozen in moments of fear or sorrow, haunting their subconscious. The legend of Old Alamo Hospital is more than just ghost stories. It is a living memory etched into every wall, every hallway, every abandoned wing. The building itself acts as a vessel for the countless souls who experience suffering, death, and unrest within its confines, daring anyone to enter and witness the thin veil between the living and the dead. The hospital is a place where time feels suspended, past and present colliding, shadows and whispers dancing around anyone who walks through its doors, warning that this is not merely an abandoned hospital. It is a haunted repository of memories, suffering, and spirits that refuse to leave, a chilling testament to the lives once lived and lost within its walls. This is Old Alamo Hospital, a place where reality and the supernatural intertwine, every step a risk, every shadow a question, and every sound a whisper from the past, waiting to make its presence known to those who dare enter. Number 2. Jefferson General Hospital, Jefferson. Jefferson General Hospital stands abandoned in the heart of Jefferson, its crumbling walls and broken windows a stark reminder of its long-forgotten purpose. Yet within its decaying halls, life of a different kind still lingers, a presence that refuses to rest. Visitors and paranormal investigators alike describe a heavy, oppressive atmosphere that greets anyone who dares step through the front doors, a suffocating blend of dust, decay, and the residual energy of countless patients who once roamed these hallways in pain, fear, and sometimes hopelessness. The shadow figures are the most commonly reported phenomenon, fleeting glimpses of human forms darting just at the edge of vision, often disappearing when directly looked at. Some are tall and looming, others small and childlike, moving silently through corridors and stairwells, their presence felt as a sudden drop in temperature, a shiver running down the spine, or the eerie sensation of being watched, even in rooms that are empty, where nothing remains but broken furniture and peeling paint. Cold spots appear without warning, pockets of icy air that seem to emanate from nowhere, chilling visitors to the bone even in the height of summer, sometimes following them from room to room, as if invisible hands are guiding or warning them. Doors creak and slam unexpectedly, old equipment rattles, and echoes of footsteps resonate across the floorboards. Though no one is there, the old patient rooms sometimes give the impression that someone is lying in the beds, shadows shifting and moving, as if tending to invisible patients, or the specters of those who never left or simply resting in place. The unexplained voices are faint and fragmented, whispering from the walls or empty rooms, sometimes calling out names, or repeating a phrase over and over, chilling murmurs that create an unsettling tension in the air. Sounds of crying, moaning, and distant laughter occasionally pierce the silence, leaving visitors questioning what is real and what is imagined. The atmosphere becomes increasingly oppressive the deeper one explores, hallways stretching endlessly, shadows twisting in ways that defy logic, as though the hospital itself has become a maze designed to trap both the living and the dead. The stairwells are particularly unnerving, steps groaning under invisible weight, the air growing colder with each level. Fleeting images of nurses and doctors performing their rounds appear and vanish in the blink of an eye, equipment rattles without cause, and the faint smell of antiseptic mingled with decay drifts through the corridors, creating a visceral reminder of the hospital's grim past. Every room seems to contain its own separate haunting, a memory that refuses to fade, replaying itself endlessly for anyone who dares witness it. Investigators often bring cameras, audio recorders, and other devices to capture evidence of the supernatural, frequently capturing unexplained shadows, orbs of light, and sudden drops in temperature. Some report electronic equipment malfunctioning, recorders picking up whispers that seem to respond to questions, and cameras turning off inexplicably, yet no one can ever fully explain the phenomena, leaving Jefferson General Hospital as a place shrouded in mystery, where the veil between the living and the dead is disturbingly thin. Visitors often leave shaken, recounting experiences of sudden touches, a sensation of being followed, or glimpses of figures moving just beyond their vision. Many report nightmares afterward, dreams populated by shadowy figures, echoes of moans, and long corridors that never seem to end, a haunting that lingers long after leaving the building, imprinting itself on memory and imagination, leaving one questioning whether the spirits of Jefferson General Hospital will ever truly rest. Jefferson General Hospital is not merely an abandoned building. It is a vessel of restless energy, a haunting ground for shadow figures, cold spots, and the whispers of the past, daring anyone who enters to confront the lingering presence of those who walked its halls before, a chilling reminder that some places carry the weight of memory and suffering far beyond their physical decay, and that within these walls, the line between life and death is frighteningly thin, leaving all who enter with an unforgettable encounter with the supernatural. Number 3. Yorktown Medical Center, Yorktown. Yorktown Medical Center stands vacant and silent, its once busy halls now filled only with echoes, the lingering energy of countless patients and staff who walked its corridors still palpable. The building exudes a cold, heavy atmosphere, a mix of dust, decay, and the unseen presence of restless spirits. Visitors often feel an oppressive weight as they step through the entrance, a sense that unseen eyes are watching, following their every move. Shadowy figures appear at the edge of vision, sometimes standing in corners, disappearing when looked at directly. Phantom doctors in old uniforms are reported to glide silently through the hallways, checking non-existent charts, moving with a precision that hints at memories of a time long past. Cold drafts sweep through the hallways unpredictably, chilling the air and sending shivers down the spine. Doors creak and slam without cause, equipment rattles in empty rooms, and faint whispers drift from the walls, voices of former patients and medical staff replaying fragments of conversations from decades ago, sometimes pleading, sometimes shouting, sometimes softly murmuring incomprehensible words. Footsteps echo along the corridors, though no living soul is present. The old patient rooms hold an unsettling presence. Beds appear occupied, blankets shift slightly as if an unseen occupant has just risen, shadows flicker across walls as if the room itself is alive with residual energy. Investigators often report electronic devices malfunctioning, cameras capturing moving orbs of light, audio recorders picking up whispers that answer questions, sometimes growing louder when challenged. The energy seems concentrated around certain areas, old surgical wings, nurse stations, and the upper floors where patient wards once thrived. The sense of being followed or touched is common. An invisible hand brushing against shoulders or tugging lightly at clothing. The air grows colder, heavier, almost tangible, intensifying as one moves deeper into the abandoned hospital. The haunting extends to the stairwells and hallways, long stretches where shadows seem to twist and shift unnaturally. Glimpses of figures in scrubs appear momentarily before vanishing. The smell of antiseptic lingers faintly, mixed with the scent of decay, creating a ghostly reminder of the hospital's history. Faint crying, moaning, and laughter sometimes echo through the empty wards, leaving visitors questioning whether they are hearing remnants of the past or something more sinister. The building seems to replay its history endlessly, each room holding its own memory, each hallway a stage for spectral activity. Yorktown Medical Center is more than just an abandoned building. It is a nexus of restless energy, a place where spirits linger, unable or unwilling to move on, where phantom doctors perform rounds for invisible patients, and shadowy figures roam freely, a haunting that challenges the living to confront the echoes of the past, a chilling reminder that some places, even long after being abandoned, never truly die, leaving those who enter with an unforgettable encounter with the supernatural, a lingering fear that the spirits of Yorktown Medical Center will continue their watch for eternity. Number 4. Baker Sanitarium, Mineral Wells. Baker Sanitarium, once a bustling center of medical care, now stands abandoned, its hallways silent yet brimming with a palpable energy, the air heavy with the memories of the sick, the dying, and the medical staff who devoted their lives to caring for them. Visitors report an overwhelming sense of unease immediately upon entering, a feeling as if unseen eyes are tracking every movement. The walls seem to whisper, faint murmurs of patients calling out in pain or nurses offering soothing words. Echo through the empty corridors. Footsteps can be heard on floors long unused, some slow and deliberate, others hurried, as if someone is rushing between wards unseen. Ghostly figures in old-fashioned nurse uniforms are glimpsed at the end of hallways, pausing at doorways before vanishing. Phantom patients are said to sit at the foot of beds that are now merely dusty frames, their faces obscured by shadows, yet their presence unmistakably felt. The haunting is pervasive throughout the sanitarium, from the old surgical wings where cries and faint screams seem to echo endlessly, to the treatment rooms where shadowy figures manipulate invisible instruments. The faint scent of antiseptic mixed with decay lingers in the air, an olfactory ghost of the building's former life. Doors open and close of their own accord, lights flicker without explanation, and sudden cold spots appear with no source, leaving visitors shivering as if touched by unseen hands. The stairwells hold particular notoriety, where apparitions appear to descend or ascend, sometimes visible only in fleeting glimpses, sometimes lingering, watching, waiting, as though they are bound to the hospital by unfinished business or tragic ends. Many paranormal investigators have documented strange phenomena in Baker Sanitarium, including electronic equipment malfunctioning, cameras capturing shadowy orbs drifting through rooms, and audio devices recording whispers, moans, or fragmented words in the silence, sometimes calling names, sometimes repeating medical instructions from a bygone era. The sense of time itself seems warped within these walls, with visitors feeling as though they stepped back decades, witnessing echoes of hospital life frozen in the spectral plane, ghostly nurses making their rounds, phantom patients sitting quietly, or walking in slow, deliberate circles. The energy is concentrated around former wards, the old nurse station, and the surgical theaters, each area seeming to hold its own personality, its own lingering spirits. Baker Sanitarium is also reported to have interactions that go beyond sight and sound, objects moving on their own, chairs rocking, drawers sliding open and closed, and faint touches brushing against the living, as if the spirits are trying to communicate, or perhaps relive their experiences. The windows sometimes rattle though there is no wind, doors slam when no one is present, and shadows move independently of any source of light, forming shapes that suggest human figures, fleeting glimpses that vanish upon closer inspection, adding to the pervasive sense of unease that envelopes anyone daring enough to explore this haunted place. Even the exterior of Baker Sanitarium contributes to the haunting, the once grand facade now weathered and decaying, broken windows reflecting ghostly shapes at night, the ground silent but for the occasional sound of a distant scream or a phantom wheelbarrow, the cemetery nearby holding the remains of patients and staff, adding an additional layer of sorrow and unrest to the location. The building seems to breathe with the memories of those who spent their final days within, a spectral echo of life and death intertwined, ensuring that no one who enters leaves untouched, making Baker Sanitarium one of Texas' most chilling and unforgettable haunted locations, a place where the boundary between the living and the dead feels impossibly thin, and the spirits of the past continue their eternal rounds. Number 5. St. Mary's Hospital, Houston. St. Mary's Hospital in Houston, a once bustling medical center, now sits largely abandoned, yet the energy of its past is unmistakably present. The walls thick with the sorrow, fear, and desperation of patients who walked these halls decades ago. Visitors immediately notice a heavy atmosphere, an oppressive weight that presses on the chest, making each step feel slower, more deliberate, as though the building itself is resisting intrusion. Faint echoes of footsteps are heard where no one walks, and disembodied voices murmur softly in corridors that have long been stripped of life. The clinking of metal instruments, once used for treatment, seems to resonate from empty rooms, producing a haunting rhythm that chills anyone present. The hauntings at St. Mary's Hospital are not confined to a single area, but ripple throughout the building, from the old patient wards to the surgical theaters, from the administrative offices to the stairwells. Ghostly figures are frequently reported, some dressed in vintage nurse uniforms, tending to invisible patients, moving with purpose as if continuing their duties beyond the mortal plane, while phantom patients are seen in beds, their forms pale and indistinct, yet undeniably present. Sometimes sitting upright, sometimes lying motionless, their eyes seemingly fixed on nothing and everything at once, creating a profound sense of unease, as if the hospital itself refuses to let go of its past occupants. Visitors and paranormal investigators alike report a variety of chilling phenomena, from sudden cold spots that appear and vanish with no logical explanation, to doors that creak open or slam shut by unseen hands, to lights flickering with a rhythm that seems almost sentient, echoing the pulse of the hospital's spectral life. Strange odors of antiseptic and decay linger in the air, smells that should have faded with time, yet persist as olfactory reminders of the countless lives that passed through these halls, adding another layer of realism to the hauntings, making the experience almost suffocating in its intensity. Auditory phenomena are especially common at St. Mary's Hospital, with faint cries and sobs of past patients reportedly filling empty rooms, sometimes distinct, sometimes layered over one another like an endless choir of sorrow. Whispers call out names, offer brief instructions, or simply echo unintelligibly, creating the sensation that the spirits are both aware of the living and trapped in a loop of unfinished business. The haunting extends even to physical interactions with visitors. Sometimes feeling cold touches on their shoulders, brushes of air that mimic the passage of someone walking by, or the sensation of being followed through hallways where no other presence exists. Even the building's exterior contributes to the eerie aura of St. Mary's Hospital. The long-abandoned parking areas, overgrown gardens and cracked pathways create a sense of isolation and foreboding, while the windows, often dark and unbroken, sometimes reflect shadowy forms that vanish when looked at directly. The surrounding neighborhood adds little comfort, as the hospital looms like a ghostly sentinel over its former grounds, a reminder of lives lost and the unresolved echoes of pain, fear, and lingering souls, ensuring that anyone daring enough to explore its halls feels the chilling weight of history. The combination of visual apparitions, auditory disturbances, unexplained physical sensations, and the oppressive atmosphere cements St. Mary's Hospital as one of Texas' most haunted locations, a place where the boundary between the living and the dead feels impossibly thin, and the spirits of the past continue their eternal rounds, reliving moments of suffering, care, and despair, making it a sight that both fascinates and terrifies, a true testament to the paranormal presence that thrives within its walls, daring the bravest souls to witness the haunting for themselves, knowing that the experience may linger long after they leave. Number 6. White Hospital, Wichita Falls. White Hospital in Wichita Falls stands as one of the most chilling and infamous haunted locations in Texas, a sprawling medical complex whose history is soaked in sorrow, tragedy, and inexplicable occurrences. The building itself exudes a palpable energy that both draws and repels visitors, a sense of something unseen constantly watching, waiting, following each step. The corridors long and narrow, lined with peeling paint and the ghosts of a bygone era, echoing with the faintest whispers that rise and fall like the rhythm of a heartbeat that never quite matches the living. The hauntings of White Hospital are manifold, experienced differently by each person who dares to enter, yet consistent in their unnerving intensity. Shadowy figures glide silently through hallways where no living soul resides, their outlines often vague, yet distinct enough to provoke a sense of recognition. The lingering presence of phantom patients is perhaps the most unnerving aspect, seen sitting upright in hospital beds, wandering aimlessly through empty rooms, or standing silently at the foot of an operating theater, watching, waiting, a silent testament to lives interrupted, treatments left unfinished, and pain unassuaged. Auditory phenomena permeate the hospital, as inexplicable sounds echo through its abandoned wings, footsteps reverberate behind explorers only to vanish when investigated, doors creak and slam without cause, faint cries, groans, and whispers of disembodied voices fill the air, at times coherent, calling names or offering commands, at other times distorted and unintelligible, creating a cacophony of grief and unrest that seems to rise organically from the walls themselves, as if the building remembers every sorrowful event that transpired within. Visitors often report sudden drops in temperature that chill the bones, inexplicable drafts that brush across their skin, and the sensation of being touched or followed by an invisible presence. Even when completely alone, the hospital seems to breathe with its own spectral life. Lights flicker without electrical cause, shadows move independently of any source, and reflections in darkened windows or mirrors sometimes reveal figures that vanish the moment they are directly observed, all of which contributes to a deeply immersive and terrifying experience that leaves a lingering sense of dread. The hospital's wards, formerly filled with the sick, injured, and dying, now serve as stages for these hauntings, where spectral patients replay moments of suffering, perhaps eternally trapped in limbo. Phantom nurses and doctors have been reported performing their duties, moving silently through empty rooms, tending to invisible patients with the precision and urgency of someone still bound to duty beyond death. The blend of visual, auditory, and tactile hauntings creates a multi-layered atmosphere of terror, one that can overwhelm even the most skeptical visitor, blurring the line between reality and the supernatural. Even outside the hospital, the aura of White Hospital persists, its looming structure dominating the surrounding streets. Windows dark and unyielding, overgrown lawns and cracked pavements contribute to a feeling of abandonment and menace, while the locals speak in hushed tones of strange lights, unexplained noises, and occasional glimpses of figures moving within. The combination of history, architecture, and paranormal activity ensures that the hospital's reputation as one of the most haunted sites in Texas endures, drawing thrill-seekers, ghost hunters, and the curious alike, all eager to witness the spectral legacy of White Hospital firsthand, yet none leaving untouched by the chilling energy that saturates every corridor, every room, and every shadowed corner of the building. From the top floors to the basement, every inch of White Hospital seems alive with the echoes of the past, a past filled with illness, fear, and the unquiet dead, making it a place where time feels suspended, reality bends, and the veil between the living and the dead is frighteningly thin, a true testament to the enduring presence of spirits, restless and unyielding, haunting the halls of White Hospital for eternity, daring anyone who enters to confront the darkness that resides within. Number 7. General Hospital of San Antonio. The General Hospital of San Antonio is one of Texas' most notorious haunted medical facilities, a sprawling structure whose history is entwined with pain, suffering, and countless untimely deaths. The atmosphere inside feels heavy, oppressive, as though the very walls have absorbed decades of anguish and sorrow. The hospital hums with an energy that is palpable, a sensation that something unseen is always watching, always waiting, following each step through dimly lit corridors and empty wards. Visitors recount an array of unsettling phenomena, shadowy figures that drift silently through surgical wings and abandoned rooms, their forms sometimes indistinct, sometimes sharply defined, appearing at the edge of vision only to vanish when looked at directly. Phantom patients seem to wander endlessly, trapped between life and death, their expressions vacant or mournful, replaying the final moments of their lives, echoing the hospital's tragic past in spectral form. Auditory disturbances are rampant throughout the building, with disembodied footsteps echoing through hallways, doors creaking open and slamming shut without cause, faint whispers and muffled cries rising and falling like waves, some voices calling names or issuing commands, others distorted and unintelligible, leaving visitors disoriented and unnerved, creating a continuous, tense atmosphere that makes even the bravest hesitate. Temperature fluctuations add to the terror, sudden cold spots chill the skin, drafts pass where no windows or doors are open, and some visitors report the sensation of being touched or brushed by an invisible presence, as if the spirits themselves are making their presence known, a constant reminder of the restless souls inhabiting the hospital. The surgical wings are a particular hotspot for paranormal activity, with phantom surgeons and nurses reported performing their duties on unseen patients, moving silently and methodically through deserted rooms, their presence sometimes felt as a pressing, almost suffocating weight, other times glimpsed fleetingly as shadows flit across walls or instruments move of their own accord, creating a chilling tableau of life and death frozen in time. Even outside the hospital, the building radiates a haunting aura, looming over surrounding streets with dark, foreboding windows and a history that whispers to all who approach. Locals speak of strange lights flickering in the upper floors, unexplained noises, and fleeting glimpses of figures moving within, reinforcing the hospital's reputation as a hub of paranormal activity and one of the most haunted locations in Texas. From top floors to basements, each room seems to hold memories of pain and suffering, with every corridor echoing the past, and every shadow a reminder of lives interrupted, creating an immersive, terrifying environment where reality and the supernatural blur, leaving a lasting impression on anyone who dares to explore its haunted halls. General Hospital of San Antonio stands as a chilling testament to the enduring presence of restless spirits, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is frighteningly thin, a hospital alive with memories, whispers, shadows, and echoes, daring those who enter to confront the dark, unquiet past that lingers in every corner, every room, and every shadow of this haunted institution. Number 8. Mercy Hospital, Dallas. Mercy Hospital in Dallas is a sprawling medical facility with a history steeped in tragedy, illness, and untimely deaths, and over the decades, it has become infamous for paranormal activity, drawing both thrill seekers and investigators of the supernatural. The building itself seems to exude a heavy, oppressive atmosphere, as if the pain and suffering of countless patients have seeped into the very walls, lingering invisibly yet palpably, creating a sense that visitors are never truly alone. Those who enter report an array of chilling phenomena that escalate with the hours, starting with subtle hints that something is amiss, flickering lights in empty hallways, shadows that seem to move just beyond the corner of the eye, the faint hum of voices that vanish when approached, as though the echoes of past patients and staff refuse to be silenced, their murmurs carrying a mixture of grief, anger, and despair. Footsteps are a recurring feature of the hospital's hauntings, distinct yet unexplained, echoing through deserted corridors at all hours, sometimes soft and hesitant, as if someone is tiptoeing through the wards, other times heavy and deliberate, as though a presence is pacing in restless anticipation. Visitors often feel their presence intensify near old patient rooms, abandoned wings, and the surgical theaters that have long been empty, the weight of history pressing down with each step. Shadow people are frequently reported, dark, human-shaped figures that appear suddenly at the edge of vision, standing still or gliding silently through the hallways. They vanish if directly confronted, leaving only a cold spot or a lingering sense of dread in their wake. Their movements are unpredictable and unnerving, sometimes appearing in groups, sometimes solitary, often accompanied by the feeling of being watched or worse, followed as if the hospital itself is a living entity observing those who dare to explore it. Objects have a peculiar tendency to move on their own within Mercy Hospital, small items sliding across floors, medical equipment rattling, doors opening and closing with no visible cause, the sound of a gurney rolling through an empty corridor or an exam table shifting slightly in a vacant room. These seemingly innocuous events compound the sense of unease, making visitors hyper-aware of every creak, draft, and unexplained noise, and instilling the feeling that the spirits within are not idle, but active, interacting with the living in ways both subtle and startling. Temperature fluctuations are extreme and sudden, with icy cold spots forming without reason, even in rooms where the heating is fully operational, and hot, suffocating drafts appearing unexpectedly. Visitors often report the sensation of their skin being brushed or tugged by unseen hands, a chilling reminder of the corporeal presence of spirits in a space that should otherwise feel empty and sterile, adding layers to the hospital's unsettling reputation. The hospital's upper floors and basements are the epicenters of activity, with apparitions of patients and staff appearing in fleeting glimpses, sometimes seen standing at the foot of a bed, peering out of windows, or walking the corridors in a trance-like state. Phantom nurses in period uniforms are said to continue their rounds, administering care to invisible patients, their movements precise yet ethereal, a ghostly reenactment of duties from decades past, creating scenes that are as eerie as they are poignant. Auditory experiences are equally disturbing, with disembodied voices calling out names, sometimes clearly, sometimes in a whispery, unintelligible tone, groans, distant laughter, cries, and the sound of wheeled carts echoing through abandoned wings, all contributing to an immersive atmosphere of dread, one that makes visitors feel the presence of lives once lived, suffering that was endured, and stories left unfinished, lingering in the air like a dense, invisible fog. Even the exterior of Mercy Hospital contributes to its haunted reputation, with darkened windows that seem to watch approaching visitors, shadows moving within the old structure that cannot be explained by light or reflection, and local legends speaking of staff who quit abruptly after experiencing inexplicable phenomena, or patients who refused to enter certain wings, convinced that something malevolent lurked just beyond the threshold, reinforcing the hospital's status as one of Texas' most unnerving haunted locations. Mercy Hospital's combination of historical tragedy, architectural complexity, and persistent paranormal activity makes it a place that tests the courage of even the most skeptical, where the line between the living and the dead is thin, and where every room, corridor, and shadow seems to hold a story waiting to be witnessed, a lingering presence that refuses to rest, daring those who enter to acknowledge the spirits that have claimed the hospital as their own domain. From the moment visitors step onto its grounds, they are enveloped in a chilling embrace of the supernatural, a palpable tension that grows with each corridor traversed, each room explored, and each unexplained sound experienced, making Mercy Hospital not just a site of paranormal interest, but a testament to the enduring presence of restless spirits, a place where history, tragedy, and the unknown converge in ways that continue to captivate and terrify all who dare to step inside. Number 9. Hillcrest Medical Center, Fort Worth. Hillcrest Medical Center in Fort Worth is an imposing facility with a long history, and over the years, it has developed a reputation for paranormal activity, drawing thrill-seekers, ghost hunters, and those curious about the supernatural. The building itself seems alive with a presence that is both subtle and overwhelming, a mixture of cold drafts, whispering voices, and unexplained shadows that cling to the hallways, rooms, and stairwells, creating an atmosphere thick with unease. Visitors report hearing phantom nurses and doctors walking through the corridors, their footsteps echoing in empty wards, sometimes approaching, sometimes fading away before they are seen. These apparitions are described as wearing uniforms from decades past, moving with purpose yet without sound, performing invisible tasks, checking on beds, adjusting medical equipment, or pausing as if observing the living, a spectral reenactment of routines long since abandoned, yet somehow persistent. Cold spots are frequent and sudden, often chilling visitors to the bone, with temperatures dropping inexplicably in specific areas, particularly near old patient rooms, operating theaters, and the original sections of the hospital. These icy pockets of air are accompanied by the sensation of being watched, or of unseen hands brushing against skin, a tactile reminder of the ghostly presence that inhabits the building, making even the most rational visitor feel a creeping unease. Auditory phenomena are widespread, with unexplained noises permeating the hospital, from distant groans and murmurs to clear, disembodied voices calling out names, medical instruments rattling on their own, and the occasional metallic clang of equipment seemingly dropped by no one, all of which contribute to a heightened sense of tension and alertness, as if the building itself communicates its history through these paranormal interactions, a spectral memory encoded in sound. The hospital's abandoned wings and upper floors are especially active, often avoided by staff and visitors alike, where shadowy figures are glimpsed moving behind doorways or along stairwells, disappearing when approached. The architecture of the hospital, with its long corridors, vaulted ceilings, and dim lighting, enhances these sightings, creating optical illusions at times, but often leaving witnesses convinced that something otherworldly is at play, a presence that defies explanation. Patients and staff over the years have reported sudden feelings of heaviness, unexplained anxiety, or overwhelming sadness in specific areas of the hospital, experiences that are difficult to quantify but are consistently linked to the building's history of illness, suffering, and untimely deaths. The lingering energy of those who have passed remains palpable, creating a connection between the living and the spectral inhabitants that is both fascinating and terrifying. Some have reported seeing fleeting glimpses of figures standing by beds, looking out windows, or walking down corridors in a manner that suggests awareness of the living, while others have experienced objects moving without cause, lights flickering, doors opening and closing, all seemingly guided by the unseen residents of Hillcrest, a haunting that is both active and reactive, a dialogue between the living and the dead. Hillcrest Medical Center's combination of historical significance, architectural complexity, and persistent supernatural activity makes it a landmark for paranormal enthusiasts, a place where fear, curiosity, and history intersect, and where every unexplained phenomenon, shadow, and chill contributes to its enduring reputation as one of the most haunted hospitals in Texas, daring those who enter to witness, experience, and survive the ghosts that linger within its walls. The chilling presence within Hillcrest Medical Center is not just limited to individual encounters but often involves the collective atmosphere of the hospital itself, a pervading sense that something unseen moves alongside you, observes you, and interacts with you in ways that are invisible yet undeniable, leaving a lasting impression, a memory of fear and wonder that visitors carry with them long after they leave the building, a testament to the enduring spirits that claim Hillcrest Medical Center as their domain. The haunted reputation of Hillcrest Medical Center continues to grow, fueled by reports of spectral nurses performing phantom rounds, mysterious cold spots that defy logic, and auditory phenomena that remain unexplained, making it a focal point for those drawn to the paranormal, a location where history, tragedy, and the supernatural intersect in ways that are both captivating and terrifying, a true testament to the restless spirits that haunt this Fort Worth institution. Number 10. St. John's Hospital, Austin. St. John's Hospital in Austin is a sprawling medical facility with a history steeped in both care and tragedy, a place where the echoes of the past seem to linger in every corridor, ward, and abandoned room. The building exudes an eerie presence that unsettles staff, patients, and visitors alike, a mixture of cold spots, ghostly apparitions, and inexplicable noises that hint at the restless spirits who have never truly left. The wards, particularly those that have been decommissioned or left untouched for decades, are hotbeds of paranormal activity, with reports of faint whispers, hurried footsteps, and fleeting shadows that dart across hallways. These figures are often described as patients from decades past, sometimes glimpsed lying in old hospital beds or walking purposefully as if tending to invisible duties, the very air thick with the energy of lives once lived, illnesses battled, and deaths endured within the hospital's walls. Visitors and staff frequently experience cold spots, sudden drops in temperature that seem localized and unnatural, often accompanied by the sensation of being watched or followed. These moments of chill are said to intensify near old surgical rooms, corridors leading to the upper floors, and areas once designated for isolation, places where suffering was most profound and where the energy of former patients may have anchored itself, creating an atmosphere that is both heavy and oppressive. Auditory phenomena are a common feature of the haunting at St. John's Hospital, with disembodied voices calling names, the clatter of medical instruments, or the soft murmur of conversations from empty rooms, sometimes echoing in tandem with the footsteps of unseen figures. These sounds are not just fleeting. They create a pervasive sense of tension and awareness, as if the hospital itself communicates the lingering stories of its past occupants, a spectral echo of life and death interwoven into the fabric of the building. Phantom apparitions are reported frequently, from nurses performing their rounds long after the end of their shifts to patients wandering the halls in confusion or distress. Some witnesses describe seeing figures pause, watch, and then vanish suddenly, leaving only the eerie quiet and the lingering chill, a testament to the presence of spirits tethered to the hospital by the events of the past, unable or unwilling to move on, maintaining a haunting connection to the living world. The hospital's architecture, with its long, narrow corridors, high ceilings, and old ward layouts, contributes to the haunting experience, creating shadows and reflections that blur the line between the natural and supernatural. Yet many encounters are reported in broad daylight or under scrutiny, adding credibility to the stories of ghostly activity, a phenomenon that continues to draw curiosity seekers, paranormal investigators, and those intrigued by the unexplained. Objects are often observed moving inexplicably, from beds shifting slightly to medical equipment being found in locations where it had no reason to be, lights flickering or dimming in rooms without electrical cause, and doors opening or closing on their own. All occurrences that reinforce the sense that the hospital is not only haunted but active, its spirits interacting with the environment in ways that are subtle, yet profoundly unsettling. The emotional residue of St. John's Hospital is palpable, with visitors and staff reporting feelings of sadness, dread, or anxiety in certain sections, as if the building itself projects the suffering of past patients, their pain echoing through the halls and lingering in the air, making even the most rational observer pause and feel the weight of history, mortality, and the supernatural coexisting in one place. St. John's Hospital remains a landmark not just for its medical history but for its paranormal reputation, a site where ghostly activity is reported consistently, from sightings of apparitions to unexplained phenomena, its halls serving as a bridge between the living and the dead, and a stark reminder that the energy of human life, death, and emotion can persist long after the physical presence has faded, challenging anyone who dares to enter to experience the lingering spirits firsthand. The haunting at St. John's Hospital continues to captivate and terrify, offering a chilling encounter with the unknown, a place where spectral nurses, phantom patients, and unexplained activity converge, making it one of the most haunted hospitals in Texas, a location where history, tragedy, and the supernatural coexist in a way that is both mesmerizing and deeply unsettling, a true testament to the restless spirits that call this Austin institution home. Number 11. Riverside Hospital, Fort Bend. Riverside Hospital in Fort Bend is an abandoned medical facility shrouded in decades of mystery, tragedy, and lingering energy. Its long-forgotten wings now serve as the perfect stage for ghostly activity, corridors echoing with phantom footsteps, disembodied whispers, and the occasional slam of doors that have long since been left unlocked, the very atmosphere thick with the sense of lives once lived, illnesses endured, and sudden deaths that left emotional imprints upon the building itself. Visitors and urban explorers often recount feeling an oppressive presence upon entering the old wings, the air heavy with the unexplainable, cold spots appearing suddenly as if the hospital itself breathes a chilling warning, shadows shifting in peripheral vision, sometimes taking human-like forms that vanish the moment one looks directly, an unsettling reminder that the spirits of past patients and staff are far from dormant, and that the hospital retains a consciousness of its own. The sounds within Riverside Hospital are often the most disturbing, reports of faint coughing, low moans, hurried footsteps echoing across empty halls, and even the sound of whispers calling names are common, each incident adding to the mounting legend of the place, as if the past residents continue to perform their nightly routines, nursing the sick, comforting the dying, or pacing the halls in confusion and despair, trapped in a perpetual loop that intersects with the living. Shadowy figures are a frequent occurrence, reported by security personnel, thrill seekers, and paranormal investigators alike, some appearing as nurses or doctors from a bygone era, moving methodically through corridors, others as indistinct shapes that emerge from walls or disappear down hallways, leaving a cold void where they were once glimpsed, a constant reminder of the hospital's haunted reputation and the unresolved stories of those who never left. Objects are often seen moving without cause, beds shifting slightly, wheelchairs found in new locations, lights flickering with no electrical explanation, and doors opening and closing on their own, all contributing to a pervasive sense that the building itself is alive with the echoes of its past, its structure seemingly infused with the residual energy of human suffering, sorrow, and unfinished business, creating an environment where the paranormal is undeniably present. Even the architecture of Riverside Hospital plays a role in its haunting, with long, narrow hallways, high ceilings, and abandoned wards that amplify sound and shadow, making every creak, whisper, or movement feel magnified and closer than it truly is, the perfect setting for the spirits to manifest, interact, and unsettle any living soul daring enough to venture into its confines. Visitors often describe a range of emotions upon entering, from sudden dread and anxiety to moments of inexplicable sadness, as if the building itself communicates the anguish of its former occupants, every corner holding the weight of history and death, a constant reminder that Riverside Hospital is more than an abandoned building. It is a nexus of spectral energy, memory, and unresolved tragedy. Despite the abandonment, Riverside Hospital draws ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and historians intrigued by its dark past, each hoping to witness firsthand the shadowy figures, hear the disembodied voices, or feel the chilling presence that has become synonymous with the facility, its legend continuing to grow with every reported encounter and unexplained phenomenon. Riverside Hospital stands as one of Texas' most haunted locations, a site where the boundary between the living and the dead blurs, where spectral figures roam abandoned wings, shadows move with intent, and the cries and whispers of the past remain audible to those willing to listen, a chilling testament to the enduring presence of spirits who refuse to rest. Entering Riverside Hospital is an invitation into the unknown, a chance to witness firsthand the terror, sadness, and mysteries that linger in every corridor, ward, and abandoned room, making it a place where history, death, and the supernatural converge, and where the brave can experience the unmistakable proof that some spirits never truly leave. Number 12. Central Texas Hospital, Waco. Central Texas Hospital in Waco stands as a chilling monument to the unseen, a building whose very walls seem soaked with the energy of past lives, suffering, and unresolved anguish, its abandoned corridors echoing with stories that refuse to fade, whispers of phantom patients lingering in the dark, carrying with them the sorrow and fear of countless tragic events that occurred within its rooms. Visitors report an immediate sense of unease upon stepping inside, a heavy atmosphere that seems to press down with invisible hands, hallways stretching endlessly under flickering lights, the air thick with cold spots that appear and vanish unpredictably, shadows moving in the corner of vision, only to disappear when confronted directly, giving the sensation that unseen eyes are constantly watching, analyzing, judging. Phantom patients are often the most disturbing, seen moving silently through wards, sometimes sitting motionless at the foot of beds or pacing slowly in the hallways, their forms barely distinguishable from the dim light, appearing and vanishing like mist, leaving a sense of sorrow and longing behind, as though the spirits are forever trapped in the cycles of care, illness, and death they experienced in life. Unexplained sounds fill the building, soft footsteps echoing down empty corridors, doors creaking and slamming without any wind or mechanism to explain them, faint moans and whispers that seem to carry names or pleas, all contributing to an omnipresent tension, making even the bravest visitor's skin crawl with the sense that the past refuses to stay buried, that the hospital itself remembers every tragedy that occurred within its walls. The architecture amplifies the haunting, narrow hallways and high ceilings creating a natural echo chamber for every sound, each room a potential stage for apparitions to appear, shadows to flicker, and objects to move without explanation, wheelchairs slightly shifted, beds askew, lights dimming and brightening in impossible sequences, making the entire space feel alive with the memory of pain, loss, and unresolved business. Staff, urban explorers, and paranormal investigators all report similar phenomena, from sudden drops in temperature to the unmistakable feeling of being touched or followed, objects moving when no one is nearby, and fleeting glimpses of figures that defy explanation, lending credibility to the tales of hauntings that have persisted for decades, a dark legacy woven into the very fabric of the hospital. Even beyond the wards, common areas, waiting rooms, and stairwells carry the imprint of past trauma, every corner holding a story of a life interrupted, a suffering endured, or a tragedy witnessed, creating an environment where the line between the living and the dead becomes frighteningly thin, and where the hospital itself seems to act as a conduit for restless spirits seeking recognition or release. Central Texas Hospital remains a site of fascination and terror for those drawn to the paranormal, a place where ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and historians alike hope to encounter something beyond the natural, a moment that will prove the legends are real, that the spirits of past patients continue to roam, lingering in the hallways they once knew in life. Entering this haunted hospital is not simply stepping into a building. It is stepping into history, memory, and the supernatural, where every sound, shadow, and movement might carry the echoes of lives that ended too soon, where the spirits remain as reminders of the fragility of life, and the power of death to leave an indelible mark on the places we once called safe. Central Texas Hospital in Waco is not just haunted in reputation. It is haunted in experience, a chilling sight where phantom patients walk, eerie whispers fill the air, and doors open of their own accord, challenging every visitor to confront the unknown, to witness the restless dead, and to understand that some places, no matter how abandoned, never truly let go of the lives that passed through them. Number 13. Elmwood Hospital, San Angelo. Elmwood Hospital in San Angelo stands as a testament to eerie persistence, a building whose empty hallways echo with the lives that once filled them, now seemingly inhabited by the unseen. Ghostly figures are reported throughout the facility, gliding silently along corridors, their presence fleeting yet undeniable, appearing in peripheral vision only to vanish when confronted, leaving a lingering chill and a sense of being watched. Visitors speak of cold spots that appear without warning, sudden drops in temperature that prick the skin and make the hair stand on end, sometimes followed by faint whispers that carry indistinguishable words, as if the spirits of past patients are trying to communicate across the veil. Hallways stretch endlessly under dim lighting, amplifying every creak and groan of the building, making ordinary sounds feel threatening and the atmosphere thick with an unshakable sense of unease. Phantom activity is not limited to mere sightings. Objects shift inexplicably, doors open and close on their own, wheelchairs seem to move slightly, and beds appear to have been used even when the rooms have been untouched for years. These manifestations are often reported by paranormal investigators and urban explorers, who note patterns of repeated disturbances in certain wings, suggesting the presence of specific spirits tied to particular rooms or events from the hospital's history. Staff members and visitors alike have shared experiences of shadowy forms appearing at the end of hallways, sometimes resembling former patients or nurses, standing silently before fading into the walls, leaving a haunting impression that lingers long after the encounter. The air itself feels heavy with memories of suffering and loss, a palpable tension that reminds anyone who enters that Elmwood Hospital is more than just an abandoned medical facility, it is a resting place for souls unwilling to move on. The architecture of Elmwood Hospital amplifies the supernatural phenomena. Long, narrow corridors, high ceilings, and empty wards create perfect conditions for echoes and reflections, making every sound and movement more unnerving, while the faint flicker of broken lights often reveals glimpses of figures that vanish when approached, adding layers to the terrifying narrative that has built up over decades. For paranormal enthusiasts, Elmwood Hospital is a location that promises intense experiences, a place where ghost hunters can feel the energy of the past pressing down on them, where every creak and whisper might be an encounter with a lingering spirit, and where the history of the building is inseparable from the haunting itself. The stories of shadowy figures, cold drafts, and unexplained activity combine to make Elmwood Hospital one of the most chilling haunted sites in Texas, an environment where the past and present collide in the most unsettling ways. Walking through Elmwood's deserted hallways is stepping into a liminal space where the line between life and death feels blurred, where every glance into a shadow might reveal a figure frozen in time, and where the atmosphere itself seems alive with echoes of the countless lives that have passed through the hospital's doors. The haunting is continuous, patient, and pervasive, leaving an indelible mark on all who dare to enter. Elmwood Hospital remains a cornerstone of Texas paranormal lore, a place where ghostly figures roam, mysterious activity persists, and the veil between the living and the dead feels frighteningly thin, challenging all who step inside to confront the unknown, and to experience the lingering presence of the restless dead. Number 14. Trinity Hospital, Lubbock. Trinity Hospital in Lubbock is notorious among paranormal enthusiasts and local residents alike, a site where the echoes of the past refuse to stay buried, where every surgical room, corridor, and empty ward seems charged with a restless energy. Phantom footsteps are a common report, echoing through hallways long after the building has been emptied of patients, carrying the rhythm of lives once lived but now lingering in spectral form, their origin impossible to trace. Visitors have described sudden drops in temperature, cold spots that seem to follow them from room to room, and the sensation of being watched, even when completely alone. Apparitions of former patients appear and disappear with alarming regularity, sometimes visible only as fleeting shadows in peripheral vision, sometimes taking the form of complete figures dressed in hospital gowns, silently walking the halls or sitting motionless in abandoned beds, staring blankly at the emptiness around them. In surgical wings, the atmosphere is particularly unsettling. The very air feels heavy with memories of pain, loss, and desperation, and strange noises often accompany it, squeaking of carts, soft groans, distant cries, or the metallic clatter of surgical tools seemingly moved by invisible hands. Paranormal investigators have noted that these disturbances follow a pattern, often repeating in the same rooms, suggesting that specific events from the hospital's operational days may have imprinted themselves on the building itself, creating a persistent supernatural presence. The architecture of Trinity Hospital, with its long sterile corridors, high ceilings, and abandoned wards, amplifies every sound and shadow, turning minor creaks or flickers of light into spine-chilling phenomena. Some visitors report seeing figures peering from doorways, only to vanish when approached, while others describe seeing silhouettes pass along the walls, moving with a deliberate purpose yet fading before they can be fully comprehended. Staff members who have worked night shifts speak of eerie experiences, whispers in empty corridors, phantom alarms ringing without cause, and objects moving as if pushed by unseen hands. The history of the hospital, steeped in decades of medical practice, tragedies, and human suffering, seems to feed the intensity of the hauntings, making Trinity Hospital a hotspot for ghostly activity and unexplained phenomena. For those brave enough to explore its deserted wings, Trinity Hospital offers an immersive encounter with the paranormal. Every room, every hallway, every surgical suite seems alive with the energy of past lives, a chilling reminder that some spirits never leave, and that the presence of the departed is woven into the very walls and floors of the hospital. Trinity Hospital stands as one of Lubbock's most terrifying haunted locations, a place where ghostly apparitions roam freely, footsteps echo in empty halls, and the air itself seems heavy with unseen eyes, waiting for the next visitor to sense the presence of the past lingering insistently in the present. Number 15. General Hospital of El Paso. General Hospital of El Paso is widely regarded as one of the most haunted medical facilities in Texas, a place where the line between the living and the spectral world seems impossibly thin, and where shadowy figures have been reported moving silently through the halls, often disappearing when approached, leaving behind only the lingering chill of their presence. Visitors and staff alike recount sudden cold drafts in rooms that should otherwise be warm, inexplicable noises echoing through deserted corridors, and the sensation of being watched even when no one else is around. Doors sometimes open or close on their own, wheelchairs and hospital equipment appear to move without human intervention, and faint whispers or disembodied voices are heard in areas long abandoned by patients, creating an atmosphere of constant unease. Some have described seeing fully formed apparitions dressed in hospital gowns, silently walking the wards or sitting motionless in the corners of empty rooms, their faces pale and expressionless, vanishing the moment anyone tries to get a closer look. Shadowy figures are frequently reported along staircases and hallways, seemingly aware of intruders yet never making direct contact, creating a sense of tension that tightens the chest and raises goosebumps along the skin. The hospital's long history of treating the sick and the dying seems to contribute to the intensity of the hauntings. Every room, every abandoned wing, carries with it echoes of past suffering, grief, and unresolved trauma, imprinted into the very structure of the building. Paranormal investigators note that certain rooms exhibit repeating patterns of activity, with flickering lights, unexplained sounds, and sudden temperature drops occurring at the same times of night, suggesting a lingering energy tied to the hospital's history. Even during the day, the air in certain wings feels thick and oppressive, and visitors often report an uneasy feeling, as if unseen eyes are tracking their every movement. Some have claimed to see fleeting glimpses of patients from decades past, walking toward them only to vanish into thin air, leaving behind a chilling emptiness that lingers long after. General Hospital of El Paso is a place where the past refuses to rest, where spectral presences roam freely, and where the spirits of patients, staff, and visitors are said to continue their eternal watch. For those daring enough to step inside, the hospital offers an unnerving encounter with the unknown, an experience that tests the limits of courage and leaves an indelible impression of fear, mystery, and the undeniable presence of the supernatural. If you've made it this far, then you've already felt the chill creeping up your spine, the eerie sense that something unseen is watching, waiting, lingering just beyond your vision, and that's exactly what makes these haunted hospitals of Texas so unforgettable, so spine-tingling, because they are not just abandoned buildings or forgotten wings, they are vessels of history, of tragedy, of countless lives that have left their mark on the very walls, the floors, the hallways, and the stairwells, where shadows move with no explanation and whispers echo long after the last visitor has left. Every hospital on this list carries with it stories of suffering, courage, and the unexplained, a combination that makes curiosity and fear entwine in ways that are hard to shake off. And whether you are a thrill seeker, a paranormal investigator, or simply someone fascinated by the unknown, the accounts of phantom patients, spectral doctors, and restless spirits are impossible to ignore. Impossible to simply walk past without feeling that cold breath of the supernatural brushing your neck. That sudden chill in the air that makes you question what is real and what lies just beyond the reach of your senses. Imagine walking through the long, silent corridors at night, the hum of fluorescent lights overhead, the distant sound of a wheel squeaking, footsteps that do not belong to anyone in sight, doors creaking open and closed as if guided by invisible hands, shadows flickering at the edges of your vision, and that lingering, unshakable feeling that you are never truly alone, that something is always watching, always waiting, always present in ways you cannot fully comprehend, a constant reminder of the thin veil between the world of the living and the world of spirits. These hospitals, each with its unique history, offer more than just chills. They offer lessons in fear, in respect for those who came before, and in the understanding that sometimes the past does not rest quietly, that the echoes of sorrow, pain, and unresolved events can manifest in ways that are both terrifying and mesmerizing, pulling you deeper into stories that are impossible to forget, and leaving you with questions about what lingers when life ends and what traces of human experience remain imprinted on the places we inhabit. So if you dare to explore, to venture into these haunted corridors and empty wards, take care, take courage, and embrace the unknown with an open mind, because each shadow, each whisper, each fleeting figure could be more than your imagination. It could be a connection to the countless souls who walked these halls before you, a link to history, to tragedy, to the spectral mysteries that make Texas haunted hospitals some of the most unnerving and unforgettable places on the planet. And as you reflect on these stories, these chilling accounts, and the undeniable allure of the paranormal, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts, and comment on which hospital you would or would not dare to visit, because your engagement helps us uncover even more terrifying legends and ghost stories, and keeps the conversation about the unexplained alive, inviting fellow thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts to join in the exploration of the eerie, the haunted, and the chilling world that waits just beyond the ordinary, waiting for those brave enough to enter and bear witness to the unseen.